You're all very familiar that we've got lots of political boundaries. We talked about the political and then the natural boundaries. We've got a multitude of watersheds. How many in there, Jack?
Well, there's 20 watersheds. There's actually 24 watersheds, but several of them are very small and unnamed. There's ways of looking at this where you would amalgamate some of them into a planning unit. A good example would be the Hartwasher, Hindu Creek, these small drainages here. This could be a single planning unit, for example. But looking at the natural boundaries as the planning units for our land use practice.
And that was a segue into the conflict that's out there naturally between the natural boundaries and the man-imposed or political boundaries, and how you cross those boundaries and manage the resources that are out there. So that was what led us into the regional team approach. Going back to, I'm looking at this picture on the wall here, the middle one, where you've got those centric circles. And we talked about, we talked about the initiatives. I've actually shown 5 initiatives because I've included in the Parks and Greenways initiative. And the message that's in this particular slide is that we've got these initiatives out there, and we need to increase the amount of commonality between those initiatives. That's really the message we're trying to get across. To work together. Where we ended up in the series was as follows. We talked about regional approaches to local solutions, working on an integrated planning basis on a watershed basis, using the hard and soft tools, breaking down the barriers, and we talked about fostering the 4 C's. And the 4 C's were communication, collaboration,
Communication.
did I mention communication? Go back. Let's try it again. Communication, coordination, cooperation, and collaboration. Thank you very much, collaboration. And we can put collusion in there as well. The 4 C's at the end became sort of a battle cry, if you like. Don't forget the 4 C's. So, what ended up happening, and this is to me, it's a little bit of a funny point, but Ron Ray will remember this particularly, I think, at the last 3 sessions. We managed to get the 4 CAOs from each of the municipalities to come in and Sandy Gray, our CAO, stood on the lectern and said, yes, you know, we're going to work together on a collaborative, communicative, cooperative, and a coordinated basis. And we captured that on video, we posted it on YouTube. And the intention was very clear, that it's out there now in the public, and we can sort of hold people accountable. It's good doing it wrong. So, but it didn't end there, because the next year, as the regional initiatives got underway, this is one of the responses to the paper. Funny enough, they picked up on some of the wording that we used. They talked about things like regional framework for land use activities. And the intention is that 4 participants work together on a collaborative and cooperative basis. The next week, similarly, another article came out and they talked about water doesn't adhere to boundaries, talking about the man-made and the natural boundaries. And there should be cooperation between different governments, so that it also means that we can go across borders. So obviously, people were listening, and we're hoping that some of those things actually get implemented. The slide I showed you before is that somewhat morphed now to this. And if you notice, we now have the regional growth strategy as the encompassing circle here. So the regional growth strategy is the umbrella under which these other 4 initiatives should go. Jump anytime.
You're doing so good there.